everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and it's time to crack into a good book. So today's video is going to be the partner book tag and I have Ivey here to help me. I don't know if you want to say that.
I'm Ivey. Hi everybody.
So there's 10 questions here. I was not tagged, but I thought that this would be fun. We have Asimov here to help, which you may or may not be able to see. Ivey has seen some of these. I've obviously read them all, but he doesn't know all of them. So the first prompt is, how long have you been together or best friends for? So we've been dating, I think we figured out it'll be 5 years in January.
Yep.
Jesus.
We knew each other for a couple years before that.
Yes.
Year and a half.
Okay, Samus. The second question is, who reads more? So
That is obviously Kayla. Although she reads more books, but I read a lot of boring internet sports analytics and The Economist, which is like a novel a week. So
yeah, so
I
do more of that.
Yeah, I make it up on periodicals, but Kayla definitely reads more books.
Yes, but in terms of video games, which is not what this question is asking, Ivey definitely plays way more than I do.
That's my number one hobby.
The third question is, do you ever argue or disagree about books? I don't think
Not really.
so.
We don't usually read the same things.
Yeah, I mean, we have some overlap with sci-fi and fantasy, but
We generally agree on those.
yeah, I think I can't even think of anything that we've disagreed on really for that.
And Kayla has stronger opinions.
Yeah. And I think, you've definitely read some, Hyperion that I haven't read, so, maybe we'd have different
And Kayla doesn't like Dune, and I really like Dune.
I guess, yeah, so we do. I think it's, the classic sci-fi that we disagree on.
Which is, that's weird to me, because I feel like classic sci-fi is more like fantasy, and Kayla likes that more, so I would think, Dune is basically the high fantasy of sci-fi, and I would expect you to like it.
Yeah, I don't understand why I don't. It's annoying.
I've read up to the stuff written by his son, which is passable, but not as good. But I think most people just stop at Dune.
Yeah.
But I've read, 3 or 4 more.
You've also read Foundation, right?
Yeah, Foundation's okay. It's not my favorite.
Okay, so we agree on that.
Foundation's kind of heady sci-fi, which isn't always my favorite.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that series. I think we're on prompt 4. Who buys the most books? Yes, that is definitely me.
I'll buy 5 a year, maybe.
Do you? I feel like...
Well, I mean, those Warhammer books count as
okay, you're right.
6 books. Lately, most of the books I've bought are either Dungeons and Dragons to try and get myself to play with my brother, or started reading some of the Warhammer fantasy stuff because I play Total War Warhammer too much. And they're pulpy and I wouldn't say good, but it's fantasy that is more digestible than most fantasies.
Interesting. Okay, question 5 is, who has the best taste in books?
So I was thinking about this, I read this one earlier, and I was thinking, my initial thought was, Kayla reads so many books, by default, some of those are bad. I don't really read that many that I don't consider really good, but she's also got more refined tastes, and like I said, I have started reading some pulpy Warhammer books, so I can't really say those are great. And I've read way too many Star Wars Extended Universe novels to...
Haven't we all, though?
Yeah.
But I feel like...
the newer ones are better.
I haven't read a lot of the more classic, I guess what's now Legends.
The Legends stuff was kind of a Wild West. They didn't care. You could use whatever you want and invent whatever you wanted. Now it's kind of a curated... So they have specific authors and they have visions for these series. But back in the day, it was just let's have some fan fiction with Han Solo and Leia's kids, getting in a, some weird situations. There are some not great things in the expanded universe.
So what did we decide?
I think
me overall.
I think Kayla gets.
Do I win this?
I think Kayla wins.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
more refined palette.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's definitely the occasional book that just is not great, but I think overall our tastes overlap pretty well. So
yeah. I mean, you read more fantasy. I read more sci-fi.
Yeah. Question 6 is, do you share your books? I mean, technically, because we live together, he could read... Well, you've read the Expanse books.
Yeah, I've read some of hers and she's read some of mine, but she's more likely to buy a second copy of a book that I already own just because she...
Well, no, I think, now that we live together, I would just borrow your books. But, when we first started dating, I did buy him Name of the Wind and The Way of Kings, I think. So we have a couple copies of that. We also have your Game of Thrones stuff, but you have that prior to, dating me. So yes, technically, I think we do share our books, but yeah, I guess if there's like, I don't think either of us have like super fancy editions for anything. What do you do with dog? Question 7 is, do you read together or apart?
Apart.
Yeah, like...
I mean, sometimes we sit on the couch together, but usually it's her reading and me playing something or surfing the internet, so...
Yeah, I feel like there's very little time where we're actually reading at the same time. Like, it's occasionally in the evenings. I guess, like, sometimes we've read in bed before going to bed, but yeah, usually it's separate. And you're usually playing video games while I do something.
Yep.
Question 8, how many books in the average month do you read?
For me, it's like 1.
Is it even that high?
I wanted to read 20... Well, like I said, I read so much Economist. I get an Economist every week, and that's like... It's 120 pages, but I read like... And they're dense.
Yes.
I read probably a third of every one. If I even read it. So that's a lot of reading a week. And I read a lot of long-form internet sports coverage.
Game stuff.
Yeah, and game coverage. So I probably... But yeah, I probably average like 1 book a month.
I clearly read a lot more than that. I think in the 20 to 30 book range in general. So, like, I think it was July, I had a ridiculous month. And, like, some of them were, like, novellas and graphic novels, but I hit, like, 40, I think, which was insane. I think that's the most I've ever read. Was it 35 or 40? I don't know. Something like that, but it was a lot.
I've gone through phases, but in my adult life, I don't read quite as much as I did when I was a youth.
Well, it's just hard to find time to do everything.
Yeah.
Question 9, are you both competitive in your reading?
How do you be a competitive
Well,
reader?
I think I am competitive with myself just because, like, I want to get through my TBR and, like, I don't know, I like, am kind of in a competition with myself each month to, like, read at least, like, the same amount, and then just generally over the year, like, I want to read at least as much or more than the year before. So.
I've done that the last couple of years of video games where I've wanted to beat more than I beat the year before, and this year I did want to read 20 books, but that kind of went out the window.
So many things.
The problem is I started... Well, I read a couple of Expanse books, and for some reason I read those kind of slowly. So around like June, I was still on pace, but then I kind of just slowed down and put an Expanse book down for like a month, and then finished it. And then I started Way of Kings, which is super long.
Yeah.
And I've been sort of plugging away at that for like 2-3 months now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. I haven't...
You had briefly started Lock-In.
Oh, yeah.
Usually do it, I guess.
Usually I don't start and not finish a book, but I read like first chapter in that, so I don't even know if I'd call that getting started.
Last question is question 10. Have you read a book on the other's recommendation and not enjoyed it? I think this is more, I guess, for you than me, because I'm not sure Have you recommended me stuff that I guess there's like Michael Crichton books that I've read, but I've liked all of those. I'm not even trying to think.
I mean, Kayla has too many recommendations for me to keep up with it, but the ones I can think of recently are all the Red Rising books. I really liked those. All the Expanse books are really good, but Kayla wasn't the only one trying to get me to read those.
Yeah.
And
I guess Stefan was as well.
Yeah. And like I like Name of the Wind and I like Way of Kings. It's just
lengthy.
Yeah. Fantasy books are just harder for me to digest, so I read those at a slower pace.
Yeah.
But I don't dislike any of them.
We were talking about listening to the Dresden Files audiobooks, so we'll see if he likes those.
I mean, I'm sure I will.
Hopefully you do. I've read some of your books. I guess, well, you haven't even read the 5th season, right? You never read that, yeah. So
that's the second one in Name of the Wind?
No, that's Wise Man's Fear. You've read that.
Okay. Yeah.
5th season is by N.K. Jemisin. I think Tiffany got that for you
for
your
makes
birthday, and then I read it, and I'm not sure you have. And I didn't love that. It's like written in second person, which is not my favorite tense. And then let's see, I've read Station 11 you have, which was really good.
Yeah.
The Dog Stars, which is also quite good.
These are all books from our friend Tiffany.
Yes.
She buys me, every year I get 1 or 2 post-apocalyptic novels from her because that's just her thing. And they're always really good.
They're good in general. Yeah. 5th season was not my favorite, just again, second person tense, but yeah, I don't know, you might like it. Like, it was a good idea overall in an interesting world, but yeah.
I really like Station 11, actually.
That was good.
I reread a synopsis on that. I don't remember.
I think they're supposed to do like a show or something of it.
That's probably why I heard about it. Yeah.
Well, she also just came out with another book this year. It's like The Glass Hotel, which I think is supposed to be somewhat connected to Station 11, but I feel like it wasn't as drawn in by the synopsis, and I was like, I don't know if I want to read this. So we'll see. Maybe we'll eventually get it. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure. If it's a book, you will eventually get it.
No. There's too many books to read. Well, I think that's everything. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say to our viewers?
I don't know. I don't have any viewers.
What's your favorite book you've read this year, which I don't know how many you've read this year. I don't even know. I don't remember what.
I've read probably like 8 or 10 this year. It's probably the latest Expanse book that I read, which was the...
Was that the Cibola Burn? Did you get that far?
I think it was Cibola Burn, yeah. Oh, no, I did read the most recent Witcher book, which I liked.
Oh, yeah. Was that this year?
That was early this year. Well,
oh, God.
I got it late last year. It came out in like November last year.
Okay.
And I didn't finish it until January. Mm-hmm. So I'd started it last year and then kind of took a break and then came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably my favorite. It's sort of, well, I don't know. Kayla hadn't read all the Witcher books, but some of them are short stories and some of them are like sort of an overarching Geralt and Ciri story, which is more what people think of. Mm-hmm. And this was a continuation of the Geralt and Ciri, sort of, with some prequel thrown in. It's hard to keep track of which book is about what, but those are pretty good.
I should get back into those. Yeah. And then, I guess, what is your favorite video game that you've played this year?
Favorite new one? Or,
sure.
Because I played way too much Total War Warhammer. That's probably the answer overall. Mm-hmm. But I think new one is probably
is it gonna be
Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore, which is a super nerdy Japanese game where you play as a Japanese teen idol, a team of Japanese teen idols,
yes.
And you grow your performing talents. And you also have ghostly Fire Emblem characters attached to you that fight for you.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch in the background. There's like some of the attacks are just like performances, and they sing musical numbers as they attack. And so we've kind of both made up Samus songs to some of the lyrics. Yeah.
Thanks, Japan. Don't ever change.
It's wonderful. What is there a book or game that you're looking forward to next year? There's a new book by the guy who wrote The Martian coming out in like April or March, sometime around the spring.
Isn't the third Name of the Wind book? No, never mind.
I don't know when that's coming out.
Let's say Game of Thrones, the sixth Song of Ice and Fire book, obviously. That'll be...
Man, I don't know. I'm not sure if Doors of Stone would come out before Winds of Winter or vice versa. We'll see.
I don't know.
It's a mystery. What about games?
Games? Probably Total War Warhammer 3, but...
Well, there's that expansion, right? That just came out?
Yeah.
You're excited about?
And then there's potentially Breath of the Wild 2 comes out next year. Mm. So it's all... I mean, COVID has messed up like timelines on everything, so no one really knows what's coming out past like 6 months from now.
What are you doing?
But whatever Nintendo puts out, I usually play it, and I usually enjoy it.
Do you see this dog right now?
I do.
Yes.
She's special.
Yes, or very special. Okay.
Metroid Prime 4 if that comes out.
Ooh. Well, they're, are they doing their... No.
What?
Like the first 3 or something?
They might. They haven't announced it. But.
I guess I got that confused with Mass Effect, because they're doing that trilogy. Is that coming out on Switch?
Doubt it. Because they're remastering it for fancy graphics.
Ah.
Maybe they'll release the original trilogy on Switch, which would be fine, but yeah.
That'd be cool. I haven't played those.
Yeah, they're very good. Mm-hmm. Very good. Like, the story is book level good.
Oh, well that is exciting. There's a book called Velocity Weapon that I think Lena said that was kind of similar to Mass Effect, which it's on my Kindle, but I do need to read it.
Well, yes. Not to get too deep into it, but the Mass Effect is... It's like mini black holes that super speed stuff if you put them through it, so Velocity Weapon is literally... They use it for everything. They slingshot ships across the universe, and they... Basically, the guns are just have a block of metal or whatever, and it just scrapes off a tiny bit, and this black hole accelerates it, so that's how you get super high-powered weapons.
Interesting. I think the second book is Chaos Vector. Is that another thing?
Well, Spectres are like the agents in Mass Effect, yeah.
Spectre or Vector?
Oh, you said Vector?
Yes, Chaos Vector.
Okay. Well, I don't know. That's not really...
It's not really a thing.
But kind of.
Famous. Oh my goodness. With that is the partner book tag. I hope you all enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of the books or played any of the games we mentioned or think you might pick them up. Do you want to ask the question of the day?
So what's your favorite book that has been recommended to you by your partner, significant other?
That's a good question. So I do have a Discord channel, and if you want to join that, the link is in the description below. I hope you're all having an excellent day and are reading something awesome. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, as that would certainly help me out. But with that, I think we're going to wrap it up here and see you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.